What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're getting started back on the 4200 swapped S10 drift blazer. For those of you that haven't seen part one of this build, you should probably go back and watch that video. If you're too lazy to do that, or you just don't want to, I'll give you a quick overview where we're at right now. This right here is a 2000 4-door, two-wheel drive S10 Blazer. I pulled out the original V6, putting in a Vortec 4200 inline six out of a 2004 Trailblazer. The transmission we're going to be putting into this bad boy is that Ar5 sitting right there on the floor. That came out of a 2008 two-wheel drive Colorado. This is a two-wheel drive. The transmission needed to be two-wheel drive. For this project here, I had to make my own motor mounts. Luckily, the transmission crossmember seems to be able to work. Hopefully, it's in the right spot. If not, I might have to move it down or up or modify the actual final placement of it. Putting the motor where I did, the transmission mount sits on the factory crossmember, similar to where it should be. So I'm hoping that goes back into the factory spot where it'll bolt up and shouldn't have to modify anything. The drive shaft, the original for the 4360E coming in this, should also fit. I had it in there as a test fit and it all worked. I didn't have it all bolted up, finalized and everything. I just had it kind of sitting in there in place and it was all there. This here is the Vortec 4200 out of the 2004 Trailblazer. They did not make a rear sump style oil pan for this. They only come in a front sump style. So not having anybody that makes a rear sump oil pan for this, the 5-cylinder Colorado engine is a similar motor to the 6-cylinder. It's just a 5-cylinder variant, so it's very close. Chopping the oil pan, opening up a section here. Most of the bolt holes line up. Now all I have to do is add in the missing section here with some new aluminum material, and we got a nice rear sump oil pan. The flywheel here is a custom unit from EMtech. They partnered with somebody and had SFI approved flywheels done. The link and part number to this will be in the description. This clutch kit here is a generic 10.5 inch for a small block Chevrolet. They came in 89 IROC Camaros with a T5 manual with a 26 spline input shaft. This holds 26 spline. The clutch is 10.5 inch. This will take both the 10.5 inch that I have or the factory 2.8 liter clutch set from the Colorado. The slave cylinder is a factory Colorado unit for the Ar5 that I'm be using in this swap. I got a remote bleeder kit so it'd be easier to bleed the clutch. And this is all the stuff that come with the clutch, the flywheel and all, as well as some Ford modular motor flywheel bolts. I got aluminum radiator for the Joule. I had to get a custom unit that had the water neck outlets on the opposite sides, considering I didn't want to have to run big snaking hoses across. And I got an intercooler because I do want to put a turbo in this thing. I don't know if I'm going to do it right out of the gate. Probably going to be NA when I get this thing running and driving on the road. And then I'll go back in, take the exhaust off, chop it up, and make it a turbo setup. I don't know about you, but I don't have the $1,700 it takes to buy an Arctic manifold right at the moment. I'd love to have one. If the company wants to reach out and help me out, give me one, take a discount off of it or something to help me get one, I'd love to do that, but I just can't afford it. The Blazer itself, I only have $500 in it. That transmission, I have $200 in. The motor, I have $300 in. All this here, I have like $800 in. So let's do some quick math. 800 plus 300 is 1100 plus 500, 1600 plus 200, 1800. So if I have $1,800 in this whole project so far, how could I justify spending, after taxes, $1,800 on a turbo manifold? I wish I could. I'd love to have one, but for me, it's just not in the cards. I have way too much other stuff going on, and this is supposed to be a budget project for me. So I think now what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop it. I'm going to plate this side, and run a bar round tube from here to here. Try to give me more clearance to be able to pull the oil pan out here, because as you try to pull the motor out, the oil pan runs into this part of the bracket. I guess without further ado, I'm trying to move that steering link out of the way. Put me a brace in there to make sure the frame rails don't twist or turn or tweak at all. And we'll get to chopping the rest of that crossmember out. Measured that out to be about 27 inches. So now Go ahead and mark both of those so I can go get a tool, clean up the areas, and tack that into place so frame rails don't move. Now that that's out of the way, go get me a sawzall and my blade. Finish lopping this crossmember out of there. Got this carbide blade. Let's get the cut. Did you see how fast this carbide blade took out that crossmember? I mean, I only had to cut the bottom half of it off, but it was done. Carbide tip blades, no matter what they're on, no matter if it's the chop saw, this sawzall blade, or whatever, these carbide tip units do work. Chopped it off, chopped it off. There ain't no turning back now. I done chopped that cross member out of there. Time to go get some cardboard and let's make some templates. Let's see. Somewhere, I have some ram board. Where, oh, where is my ram board? Where, oh, where could it be? There we go. See down here hiding in this corner? Don't mind the old garden bed there. My wife wanted to do some indoor gardening at one point. It didn't really go too well. We tried and it just didn't work out as great as I wanted it to. You gotta remember to do it and remember to water it or else it's gonna go dry, kill everything in it. Now we got the ram board. About 5.5 by 5.5. So we'll come over here, give it 6, 6. If we went 6 and 6, we'll just go ahead and do 6 and 6 and double that and make it 12. Gonna lay this up here against it. Now that we got our template cut out, kind of reminds me of the state of Ohio, but see how she fits. Pretty sure that's good enough for me. So now we'll repeat the process on the other side and get us another one. If you do it good enough, it'll almost pop out on its own. Have it. Now that looks pretty good to me. We have both cutouts. Now we can go find us some material and cut it out of steel. This might be a little bit thicker than what we were wanting, but I think it will work because that's about all I have. We got both of those marked out. Grab the sawzall. I'm gonna chuck this bad boy in the vise and give her the old lop off. So I went ahead and stuck this thing up. I'm gonna cut off the sides of this. See how it goes. got both these cut out. I need to cut them in half and then trim around. Having the right tool for the job makes all the difference. One of my very first TikTok videos that I made, I took this here bandsaw and made a table for it. It was fairly easy, didn't take too many resources. I did have to source a little bit thicker plate for the top of this. Luckily Marketplace came through and I got a piece of stainless so it won't even rust or anything. Had some little bit of materials and square tubing and angle iron laying around. There we have it. Got both the plates fairly well done. So let's go see if they fit after I deburr them. I think I can weld that as well. Now the next step is to take the flapper wheel, clean up all around here so I can get a good and nice weld around this. And we'll be ready to weld these in. Alright, so I got those plates tacked in. Now I can go back and measure between them and get my length, my distance that I need to cut my little round tube. The round tube that I have is probably not going to be quite as thick as I'd want it to be, but it's what I have on hand, so it'll either work or it'll tweak or twist later, and if it does, I can try to cut it back out and fix it then. But until then, I'm going to use what I got. Looks like 9.5 is my measurement. So I actually have a feeling that the oil pan's not going to fit at 9.5. Even there, hair under 9.5. So we'll get this chopped and get it tacked into place. And if it works, it works. If not, I might have to cut those plates back out, cut them back farther, and try it again.
So that's basically what I was going for. So now I need to get this motor test fitted back in here and make sure that it clears. If not, I'm gonna have to move them plates out a little bit and give us a little more clearance. But hopefully it works. If not, it's a lot more work. So I'm gonna head back in for the night. It's been a little bit of a long day, doing this, doing that, doing some chores. Had to go to church with the kids and everything. So tomorrow morning I'll hop back on this, test fit the motor, and see if we can't button this up and move on along. Today I needed to get back into the Trailblazer, but first I'd like to do a little bit of a side project on the Trailblazer before we test fit this motor. Got this wheel that I used on my sim with this Amazon quick release, and I no longer use that sim. I decided to take it off and see what it was like in that Blazer over there. We had a 6-bolt adapter for one of the race cars down there. Dad decided he wanted to use a different wheel instead of a 6-bolt, so I borrowed the adapter from there. It says it'll fit the Blazer, so we're about to find out. All right, secured the T20. Let's see if this bad boy fits. There's one. There's two. Even after that lower panel is off, for whatever reason, I get in here to pry out like the videos on the internet say, the airbag won't pry out. So I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong here, so maybe I'll look up another internet video. Well, let's try to look up more videos. I got one side, I just can't get the other. I don't know what's going on. There we go, snap ring off. So now with the snap ring off, I ain't reusing this box spring, so. steering wheel install. Retains factory tilt function. Gotta reach up for this, but there's enough room for my hands and stuff, and I'm not gonna run into anything. Far enough away from the pedals with the seat back in this position. Steering wheel's a lot closer to me. Overall, I'm fairly happy with this. If I want, I can take this bottom panel back off and kind of trim up the plastic on the bottom a little bit so it doesn't rub. Might do that, might not, we'll see. But for now, this will get me on the road and starting to drift. And then if I can get me a NRG quick release 3.0, I'd like to put the wheel on my sim rig out here on this, and then get a new leather wheel for my sim rig. The suede wheel's nice, but I put a lot of miles on that suede wheel, and it's not holding up as much as a leather wheel, or even like a solid acrylic or a wood wheel or steel or anything. So there we go. Hell yeah. That took me way longer than I'd like to admit, but steering wheel's in. Now it's time to run inside, wash up, eat some dinner. After dinner, we'll get that motor, put in that chassis, and see if that old pan clears. Because if that old pan doesn't clear, I got more cutting. I got to move them plates a little bit wider, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully I don't have to do a whole lot more stuff other than to weld her all up and keep on trucking. Because I'd like to get that done, get the oil pan finished up, and get that motor, transmission, clutch, all that in, ready to go. Make this thing a complete unit once again. I guess I didn't have all the fluid drained out of it like I thought I did, because we done made a mess. So now once I get this thing picked up with the cherry picker, scoot it over in there, and it gets mold rod down, try to clean up that daggone stuff. Now, I ain't got a coated floor like all them fancy other YouTubers do, but theirs aren't gonna stain, they can wipe it up. Mine, it ain't coated, so it's gonna stain, it's gonna leave a mess, so I gotta get it cleaned up before it makes a ugly spot in my floor. More fluids in the branch. Oh shit, that large back here. Fuck. So maybe guys, take a word of advice and don't drink and work on stuff, because I completely and utterly forgot there's a big old bar over there that I forgot to take out. So I was running into that. Where did that oil come from? I swear, I've had this motor on an engine stand multiple times, flipped this way, flipped that way, every which way, and I thought I had all the fluids out of it, but if you can't tell, there's more fluids on the ground, so apparently I didn't do a very good job of draining all the fluids out of it. It is what it is. But let me move this bracket out of the way and see if I can get this motor back in there and see if this damn thing fits, because I'm praying it does, but at this point, I don't have no faith that it's gonna work at all. So let's get after it. That bar is out of the way, so let's get this motor in there and see what happens. Stuck on the gearbox. On back. On back. Now we're hitting the old tie rods. No, that might be out of the way. And first they're on in there. I need to get a better grip on this thing, because holding it there tilts it off to the side. So if I'd have gripped it closer to here, it might have been a little more even. So next time we know, don't grip it out here. We need to grip it at least here, and fix it a little bit better than that. All right, so basically all I've done is wedge this son of a gun in there. The engine stand mounting hub bracket thingy that goes into the engine stand is kind of hitting the firewall and won't let it sit exactly where it needs to, I guess. Where the bell housing goes and curves down really good. It gives a little bit more room where those bolts stick straight out about 3 inches, 2 inches, 2.5. And or it's completely hung up. I didn't grab the motor right. I didn't do anything. So take a note from me. Don't drink and work. Drink, have fun, enjoy yourself if you want to. But don't try to do anything constructive when you're drinking, because it just ain't work. So let's pull this back out of here and maybe get it reset up a little bit better. Don't mind the giant mess we made down here. Or the fact that she's whopper jawed that way real good. Or the fact that I ain't done nothing right since I started this, and I probably should have just went to bed and not messed with it at all. Well, there you have it, boys. Complete and utter failure at this. The motor didn't go in place multiple times. The bar was in the way holding the motor up, and then the engine stand was in the way holding the motor up, and then we're kind of cockamamie sideways and this and that. I knocked the bar off the center down out of the way, even though it was tacked. I didn't tack it tight enough. And it is what it is. I messed up. I made a mistake. I didn't do what I was supposed to do, or didn't do it as well as I needed to, and I messed up. But I'm at the point in life where I'm gonna show you guys this, you know? It ain't gonna be roses and fields of daisies every time you go to work on something. It ain't gonna be the greatest thing ever. Every time you go out and try to turn a wrench, them 2-hour jobs and 30-minute jobs or whatever, them 30-minute jobs turn into 2-hour jobs. Them 2-hour jobs turn into 3-day jobs. Hell, them 20-hour jobs turn into 80-hour jobs. You know, it just gets worse and worse. But at the same time, you could turn a 30-minute job into a 5-minute job. You could turn a 2-hour job into a 5-minute fix, make some money, help a brother out, help a friend out, help a relative out, help somebody else out, help somebody in need out. But at the same time, you can screw yourself the exact same way. You just gotta have enough respect for yourself to admit your mistakes. I think I'm done for the night. Clean that up. I don't care anymore. I wanna go take a shower, hit the bed, and I'll see you first thing in the morning. All right then, I didn't film, but she's in there. I got it a lot more straighter just by using a chain and getting it hooked up a little bit better. She was just barely cocked, so I could lay it down on this motor mount right down in place. I'm still not the biggest fan of this part, so I could still lop that off and redo this. Maybe make it a plate straight out from here that bolts into here, or I don't know. I'd like this to be removable and not welded solid. But for now, that's in a good spot. This side here, the bolt is through all the way to the back. The weight is off the chain, so the motor rocks back and forth. It is fairly well balanced, if I don't say so myself, because it just kind of sits there where it needs to. So the question of this video is, does that fit or doesn't it? Let's see. Now, if you see right here, I think that's got a good amount of clearance right there. If you see right here, I think that's got a good amount of clearance there. Once this goes back into place, that old pan should have plenty of clearance to come up and out and over that bar. So that's that. Now, I can get that welded in, get all this finalized, and move on along with this project. I do need to get the oil pan situation taken care of in this thing, get the oil pan done, the pickup tube, and get it all finalized. So I get the transmission mounted to the motor, along with the clutch and the flywheel and the slave cylinder and all the extra stuff that I got for it, and get this in the chassis for good. But that's gonna have to wait. I don't have enough time to teach myself how to do any more TIG welding than I do right now, so I'm probably gonna try to outsource welding that pan up. Yeah, it's gonna cost me some money, but it takes money to make money, I guess. And I have a lot of other priorities to do. So the next video, look forward to doing some construction. I got a 3,000 square foot home addition over there. It needs a whole lot of work, and I'm a one-man wrecking crew, so let's try to get it done. Appreciate y'all watching, showing a little bit of support here and there. It makes this worth doing. I enjoy showing you all what I'm doing because it also motivates me to do what I'm doing. I've always enjoyed building stuff and kind of showing other people how they can do it too. I'm just an average person trying to learn as much as I can, you know? Until the next time, you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.